owns a Toyota car? One. You been into a Toyota repair shop to have your car repaired? You can eat off the floor. These repair shops are sterile, clean. Every tool is in its place. And so the process of maintenance is also a very well understood process. And this is something that Toyota pays very careful attention to. This is something that we do not find very much in Agile or even in Scrum. Scrum is about building product increments rather than this notion of doing maintenance. Now, the Scrum inventors understand this. How many here are doing Scrum? Or how many here think you are doing Kaizen? How many of you think you really are doing continuous improvement? You're doing Scrum or whatever. Okay, so you think you maybe are. Do you have a bug tracking system? Get rid of it. We don't track bugs. We fix them. When a bug comes up, fix it. Don't put it on a bug tracking system. It takes more time to fill out a bug report in Bugzilla or whatever bug tracking system you are using than it does to fix the bug. That's Muda. Fix the bug. Okay? And I mean, Jeff Sutherland says this a lot. So does Tom Poppendick, by the way. I said this in a talk I gave in Finland, and Tom was standing in the back of the room, kind of policing my talk, right? And I said this, and he jumped up and down and cheered. He thought, this is a great idea. So, I mean, I think the Scrum leadership, the people who founded Scrum understand this, but most people who practice Scrum do not understand that about 20% of your time is spent fixing bugs, dealing with emergent requirements. Now, there is hope in software. An old friend of mine named Robert Cecil Martin, he is better known in the industry as Uncle Bob, has written a book called Clean Code. And I had the great honor of writing the foreword to this book. And I wrote the foreword saying, well, this is the Toyota total productivity maintenance. So forget about the Toyota production system. That's only 10 or 5% of software development. The 90% of software development is in maintenance. And so we need to learn about how Toyota maintains and repairs and services their cars, not how they manufacture them. Manufacturing them is not the interesting part. Servicing them is. Toyota knows this. You have this in your culture here. This is something that has not yet made it to the West from the East. So a little summary of Scrum and Agile. If I look at Scrum and Lean, Scrum values planning, thinking up front. And by the way, it doesn't value plans. It values planning. Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was a general in the 1950s, said, I find when going into battle that plans are useless. Planning, however, I find to be indispensable. It isn't the plan, it's the planning. Scrum is very strong on eliminating Muda, Mura, and Muri. Straight from the lean values, straight from the Toyota way. This is where Jeff got them. It's both about process and product. It's about cross-functional teams, and it has even deeper roots that Jeff got some inspiration from, directly from Buddhism. If you look at the Agile bits, there's a lot of doing, but not much deliberation. Things are moving too fast to stop and think. In terms of Kaizen, I teach Scrum certification classes. And at the beginning of every class, I ask the class, I say, you have a choice. Do you want to take the blue pill or the red pill? You take the blue pill, you will learn the Scrum framework, and you will go home and you will have your morning stand-up meetings and fixed-length sprints and their product backlog, and you will do the process. And the Scrum police will come around and say, yes, you have done a good job. But red pill, you are using Scrum to show what your problems are, and you are doing relentless, terrible, powerful Kaizen. Every time an error comes up, you fix it. That's what Scrum was designed to do. I don't know anyone else who teaches it that way other than myself and Jeff Sutherland. I understand, who is it here who has been using the word do the red pill? Ah, okay. So you know this concept, okay? Scrum tends to draw attention to features rather than architecture, and most teams are using these fads instead of using these established practices. This, to me, is one of the greatest challenges of Agile, is that there's a lot of belief in things like test-driven development, in Yagni, you ain't going to need it, in on-site customer, and many other practices in Agile that people think are good. There's research paper after research paper that show that these will kill you. And a lot of the Agile practices are in fact not proven, but people continue doing them. Toyota would never do these kinds of things. Toyota says we will only use proven practices that we will adopt into our manufacturing. And this is a very sad and long part of the history of software, is that we value novelty and we value it being cool rather than useful. All right, enough about Scrum and Agile. Let me get back into architecture now, and a little bit more back into software. So this part of the talk is more for the nerds, the programmers. How many of you write code? Actually write code? Okay, good. So I've been working on this book with my wife, and in fact we just sent it to the publisher on Sunday before I came here, so the book is done. And will be published in May or June. And we've been working on this for several years, trying to understand how we can bring the principles of the Toyota way into software. And a lot of this has been inspired by working together with Jeff Sutherland. I work for a company called Scrum Training Institute. There's 8 of us. Jeff is the CEO. And what we do is this red pill Scrum and look at really bringing the deep principles into transforming entire organizations rather than just doing it one software team at a time. And that takes us into systems thinking issues like system architecture. Well, initially the book was called Agile Architecture, but that's really the wrong term. It's really a lean architecture to support an agile software development process. And so it has many concepts from lean. There's a lot of planning and thinking based on domain-driven design, the kind of things you find in Eric Evans' book. It's based on pull, like we have in lean. It's based on removing Mura, removing inconsistency from the system by having a team that's very tightly coupled with very short feedback loops. We use the concept of Poka-yoke. This is a term, the way Toyota uses the term Poka-yoke is in their processes and in their, originally it was idiot-proof, and then they had to be politically correct, and they made it foolproof, right? It's how can we put a process in place that makes it harder to do things the wrong way. That's what a good software architecture is. It makes it easy to do things the right way, and it makes it hard to do them the wrong way. We're going to have, again, reduced muda, reduce waste by doing things just in time and by having one-piece continuous flow. You can read more about the book at this URL if you're interested. The development process, when we need to talk about process, right, it has 2 parts. One is domain analysis. So this is the kind of thing we might find in patterns. This is the kind of thing we might find in the book by Eric Evans on domain-driven design. But the more important part is behavior. Because when we sell software, we don't sell this. We don't sell classes. We sell behavior. Software is not a product. Software is a service. Software only has value when it is running in a machine.